Welcome back to my channel, friends. This side Sonia here from Growing Craft, and yes, today we are going to learn how to make a baby album. Now there are so many variations of baby albums, and today we thought of sharing one with you all. Now in this scrapbook tutorial you will be learning how to make pockets and flaps and make your scrapbook looks exciting. Now the paper pack what I will be using for this project is from Dress My Craft, and the paper pack name is Minimo. So let's get started. First we are going to create our base, and for that we are going to have a 8-piece cardstocks of 6 inches by 6 inches. Now here in one of the cardstocks I am showing you how I have trimmed down my corners with this punch, and yes, I will be repeating the same for all the same pages, and here my pre-cut and corner punched papers are ready. The number of sheets what our album is going to have is 8 pages. This is the paper pack what we will be using, and we will need 8 pattern papers of size 5 1/8 inch by 5 1/8 inch each. Now here in this album, as I had mentioned that we are going to have 8 pages, so I have planned that on one side we are going to have the pattern paper, and on the other side we will be having it plain because we want to stick the pictures there. Now this is completely optional. If you want, you can have pattern papers on both the sides, but this is the way I liked it, but it's completely optional. Now there is a reason that why our pattern paper is smaller than the cardstock. Now here is a very quick tip. Whenever we use a pattern paper, make sure you have your cardstock a little bigger than that. That is going to give a nice frame to your paper, and that is also going to make sure that it gives a nice crisp look to your pages. Now here I will be corner punching all the pages, and all my sheets are already done. They look absolutely gorgeous. Now it's time to make the pockets, and for the pockets we are going to have 7 inches by 4 inches cardstock. I'm using the same black color cardstock. If you want, you can play around with the colors. Now as I mentioned that the cardstock size is 7 inches by 4 inches, we need to make sure that we score it on half inches from 3 sides. Now why 3 sides? Because we need to stick our cardstock and fold it from the 3 sides on our pages so that it makes a nice and cute little pocket for our flaps and tags. I'm cutting the corners to make sure that when I stick it, I don't have any of the excessive corners to be sticked on. So once you're done with the cutting, fold it, and you need to make sure that you fold it really well, and your pockets are ready. This is how your pockets are going to be, and they are going to look fab. Now the other option is to make flaps, and here I have taken a paper of size 3.75 inches by 5.5 inches, and you will need 5 pieces of this to make a flaps of your scrapbooks. So all my pre-cut papers are ready. It's time to stick my pockets and flaps, and for that I am going to use my tacky tape. Now whenever it comes to sticking your papers, your flaps, folds, pockets and binding, I always suggest you to go ahead with your tacky tapes because they last very longer and they make your work messy free. Now here I will be sticking all my tacky tapes on the edges and flaps wherever we have to stick, and once we are done with that, then we will be starting the sticking work.
À deux doigts de nos lèvres, deux doigts si fins que j'ai presque pu le goûter, le bonheur à sculpter, de son ciseau d'enfer, des souvenirs impossibles à effacer. Le bonheur est passé à deux doigts de nos lèvres, deux doigts si fins que j'ai presque pu le goûter, le bonheur à sculpter, de son ciseau d'enfer, des souvenirs impossibles à effacer.
Now this is how we are going to have our flaps. Before sticking it, I am going to punch my corners so that over the time, over the uses, it does not run off. Now I will be doing the sticking work on the centers. You can do it off center. It is absolutely your choice. Now on one page I will be having my flaps and on the other page I will be having my tags. Now first what I am doing is I am sticking my flaps on my each page, the 5 number of pages what we will be doing, and on the remaining 3 I will be doing my pockets. On some of the pages I will be having my flaps coming from upside and few of the pages I will be having my flaps coming from the sideways. This whole process is just to give a little more drama to our scrapbooks.
À deux doigts de nos lèvres, deux doigts si fins que j'ai presque pu le goûter, le bonheur à sculpter de son ciseau d'orfèvre, des souvenirs impossibles à effacer. Le bonheur est passé à deux doigts de nos lèvres, deux doigts si fins que j'ai presque pu le goûter, le bonheur à sculpter de son ciseau d'orfèvre, des souvenirs impossibles à effacer. Que j'ai presque pu le goûter.
Now it's time to stick our pockets, and for sticking pockets we are going to use tacky tapes only. Now apply a layer of tacky tape on the edges which we have scored, and make sure that you stick it on the outer side of your flap so that when you fold it, it goes inside and sticks to your base. Now we will be repeating the process for all the pockets, and once we are done with it, then we are going to fold it and stick it on our pages.
Passé à deux doigts de nos lèvres, deux doigts si fins que j'ai presque pu le goûter, le bonheur à sculpter de son ciseau d'orfèvre, des souvenirs impossibles à effacer. Le bonheur est passé à deux doigts de nos lèvres, deux doigts si fins que j'ai presque pu le goûter, le bonheur à sculpter de son ciseau d'orfèvre, des souvenirs impossibles à effacer.
Now here is a very quick tip. Whenever you are sticking your pockets, make sure that you attach your pattern papers before that, so that once you check the flaps in the pockets, you know that there is a beautiful pattern paper beneath that and it looks absolutely gorgeous. Now here I am using my liquid adhesive to stick my papers, but I am going to make sure that I have enough amount of adhesive on the edges so that it sticks really well, and do not forget to add some of the adhesives at the center too. Now with my fingers I am just rubbing off all the adhesive on the sides, making it spread real. I am just checking that if it sticks and fits well to my page, and once I am happy with that, I am going to stick it on my pages. This is how we need to repeat the process for all the pages. Right now we are doing the pockets, so I'll make sure that I stick all the pages really well, and then we will be sticking the pockets on our pages.
Impossible à effacer, le bonheur est passé à deux doigts de nos lèvres, de doigts si fins que j'ai presque pu le goûter, le bonheur à sculpter de son ciseau d'enfer, des souvenirs impossible à effacer, que j'ai presque pu le goûter. 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 Que j'ai presque pu le goûter.
Before sticking your pockets, you need to make sure that you press your tacky tapes really well. This is going to make sure that whenever you stick it, it lasts longer. Now peel off all your tacky tape plies, and once you are done with that, fold from all the creases and then start sticking it. Now having a pocket can have two options. Either you can have it at the bottom or you can have it on the sides of your albums. Now again, here I am going to do both the combinations, but you can play around with this. Either you can have it on the bottom of your pages or on the sides of your pages.
Impossible à effacer. Impossible à effacer. Que j'ai presque pu le goûter. Impossible à effacer. Que j'ai presque pu le goûter. Impossible à effacer. Que j'ai presque pu le goûter. Le bonheur est passé à deux doigts de nos lèvres, de doigts si fins que j'ai presque pu le goûter, le bonheur à sculpter de son ciseau d'enfer, des souvenirs impossible à effacer. Le bonheur est passé à deux doigts de nos lèvres.
Now we will be adding all the pattern papers to all the pages. Now wherever I have done my pocket work and the flap work, on those sides I am going to have my pattern papers. On the remaining sides I am going to let it blank so that we can have the photographs there.
Que j'ai presque pu le goûter. 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 Impossible à effacer. Le bonheur est passé à deux doigts de nos lèvres, de doigts si fins que j'ai presque pu le goûter, le bonheur à sculpter de son ciseau d'enfer, des souvenirs impossible à effacer. Le bonheur est passé à deux doigts de nos lèvres, de doigts si fins que j'ai presque pu le goûter, le bonheur à sculpter de son ciseau d'enfer, des souvenirs impossible à effacer. Impossible à effacer. Que j'ai presque pu le goûter. Impossible à effacer.
This is how our baby scrapbook pages look after having just the base pattern papers. Now we will be adding some more pattern papers to our flaps and pockets. I have already pre-cut few of the pattern papers from the paper pack and few are from the scraps of the remaining pages sheets what I have cut. Now on some of the corners I will be rounding off the edges, on some of them I'm going to stick it as it is. Now I have decided that I'm going to use some of my scrap pieces, so that's the reason some of the pieces are going to be a little smaller, but I am going to add some more elements to it from the scrap papers itself. Now if you want, you can have the complete pattern paper for those flaps and the pockets, and they are going to look absolutely gorgeous with that also. Now for example, for the first page I had this small cute little pattern paper piece, and here I have just cut a nice border with it, the remaining extra sheets, and I'm adding this to my page. This is nothing but adding a little more drama to your projects, and they look absolutely gorgeous.
À deux doigts de nos lèvres, deux doigts si fins que j'ai presque pu le goûter, le bonheur à sculpter de son ciseau d'orfèvre, des souvenirs impossibles à effacer. Le bonheur est passé à deux doigts de nos lèvres, deux doigts si fins que j'ai presque pu le goûter, le bonheur à sculpter de son ciseau d'orfèvre, des souvenirs impossibles à effacer. Que j'ai presque pu le goûter. Passé à deux doigts de nos lèvres, deux doigts si fins que j'ai presque pu le goûter, le bonheur à sculpter de son ciseau d'orfèvre, des souvenirs impossibles à effacer. Le bonheur est passé à deux doigts de nos lèvres, deux doigts si fins que j'ai presque pu le goûter, le bonheur à sculpter de son ciseau d'orfèvre, des souvenirs impossibles à effacer.
For making the cover of our album, we are going to have 2 pieces of pattern paper of size 8 inches by 8 inches and 4 pieces of cardstock of size 6.5 inches by 6.5 inches. Now for this process, you can always replace my cardstock with your cardboard pieces, but here my cardstock is really thick and it works for me. Now approximately you need to score at 0.75 inches from all the 4 sides. But if you are not very comfortable with the measurements, you can always keep your cardstock on the top of your pattern paper. Make sure you have an approximately margin from all the 4 sides and start scoring it. Now here is a quick tip. Whenever you are doing your scoring work, you need to make sure that there is a gap between your pattern paper and your cardstock line. It can be of 1 to 2 mm, that's it, not more than that. This is going to make sure that when you fold your pattern paper, it covers up completely. It is not going to ruin your base paper or your cardstock. Now very quickly you need to score on all the 4 sides and make sure that your pattern paper has enough space for folding up on your cardstocks. Now with the help of a scissor, we will be cutting all the notches, the corners of our pattern papers. This is just to make sure that when we fold our pattern paper, it sticks really well and does not create any corners on our pattern, on our cardstock. Now for sticking this, I would highly recommend you to have tacky tapes. Why? Because it actually helps in sticking your papers to your base really well, and secondly, it's messy free when it comes to all your folds and flaps.
passer à deux doigts de nos lèvres, deux doigts si fins.
The base of our album cover from one side is ready. On the other side, we are going to have a black color cardstock. Now to stick this, I am going to have my tacky tape and I am going to make sure that I stick this really well on my base. You will need 2 sets of your cover bases like this. So make sure that you prepare exactly the same piece from another sets of cardstock and pattern so that you can have the both front and the back cover of your album. This is how my album is going to have, and we need to add our holes and rings to it so that we can make a nice binding to it. Now here with a pencil I am going to mark approximately 1.5 inches from the top and the bottom of my album cover. You need to make these holes only on the sides where you are going to have your binding of your projects. Now here I have taken a measurement of approximately 1.5 inches from the top and 1.5 inches from the bottom. Once you have marked it with a pencil, with your punch hole you can do the punching work and make sure that you do it correctly so that there is no confusion. So here the cover punching work is done and now we need to punch the sheets. Now you need to make sure that your sheets are exactly on the center of your pages. Now here I have been doing this for since long, so I know that where exactly it fits in. Now once I'm done with that, then I'm going to mark with my pencil the holes where it completely exactly comes to this. You need to make sure that you do this step really carefully, because this is a very important step, that how you mark and where you punch it. Now once I'm done with my punching work on my first page, then I'm going to repeat all the holes on the remaining pages with the same technique of using my pencil, marking the circles and then punching it.
J'ai presque pu le goûter, le bonheur à sculpter, de son ciseau d'orfèvre, des souvenirs, impossible à effacer. Le bonheur est passé à deux doigts de nos lèvres, deux doigts si fins, que j'ai presque pu le goûter, le bonheur à sculpter, de son ciseau d'orfèvre, des souvenirs, impossible à effacer. Que j'ai presque pu le goûter.
Now it's time to add my eyelids to it, and with the same punch I can have my eyelids on my pages. Now here the eyelid what I have is a vintage look. I know this is not of a baby theme, but it looks absolutely gorgeous with my baby albums, and this is what I like personally. Now I will be adding one of the eyelids on one of the holes and I'll punch it, and I will be repeating the same process for all the album covers on your pages.
à deux doigts de nos lèvres, deux doigts si fins que j'ai presque pu le goûter, le bonheur à sculpter, de son ciseau d'enfer, des souvenirs impossibles à effacer. Le bonheur est passé à deux doigts de nos lèvres, deux doigts si fins que j'ai presque pu le goûter, le bonheur à sculpter, de son ciseau d'enfer, des souvenirs impossibles à effacer. Que j'ai presque pu le goûter.
Now we will be adding these tags to our pockets, and these can be optional, and you can have the different sizes and the color of cardstocks for this. Now in each pocket you can have at least 3 to 4 cardstocks for your photographs, for your journaling and for your sentiments. Now here I am using a black color cardstock. You can choose for the colorful ones, it's completely optional. This is how my album looks, and it looks absolutely beautiful and gorgeous, and I hope you all like this video. If you guys have any query, please do comment below. I will be more than happy to help you all. I have also listed down all the supplies down in the description box for you to check and to buy it. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the like button and share this with your friends. Thanks again. Take care. Bye-bye.
J'ai presque